One of the Roman emperors called in 10 of the finest sages and demanded to study the Torah with them. They began at the beginning of Genesis, and all went well until they reached the passage in Exodus that reads, "He who kidnaps a man, whether he has sold him or is still holding him, shall be put to death." When he read this, the emperor remembered how Joseph's brothers had sold him into slavery, yet they had not been punished by death, as the law required. The emperor asked the sages if this ruling applied to Joseph's brothers, and they agreed that it did. Then he demanded that the law be fulfilled and the executions carried out. The sages tried to explain that Joseph's brothers had died long ago. The emperor told them that he knew this, but the brothers could no longer be punished, and so because of this, the punishment should be carried out on those who represent, and told them that surely none represented the leaders of the tribe of Israel more than they did. Then the emperor signed a decree commanding that the 10 sages be put to death, among them Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Ishmael, Rabbi Hanina ben Teradion, and 7 other of the greatest sages who ever lived. All of the sages were placed in a cell together so that none might escape before the execution was carried out. There, in that cell, they turned to Rabbi Ishmael and begged him to use the power of the name to overturn the emperor's decree, for they knew that he alone could do it. Rabbi Ishmael told them that he could indeed overturn the decree, but first they must find out if it was solely the decree of the emperor, or if, in condemning them, the emperor was in fact carrying out a decree of the Holy One, blessed be he. Then Rabbi Ishmael put on his talit and tefillin and chanted a long prayer. And as he prayed, his soul ascended from this world into paradise, all the way until he reached Gabriel's palace in the 6th heaven. Gabriel greeted him and asked him why he had come there, and Rabbi Ishmael told him of the emperor's decree and that he had ascended to learn if it was a divine decree or not. When Gabriel swore that he had heard the decree pronounced from behind the pargod, the heavenly curtain. But he told Rabbi Ishmael not to mourn, for the 10 sages would shortly be reunited in paradise. Meanwhile, their martyrdom would free the world from the evil that had entered it when Joseph's brothers sold him into slavery. And when that terrible sin had been lifted from the world, one of the chains that held back the Messiah would be broken, and the days of the Messiah would be much closer. Rabbi Ishmael was greatly comforted to learn this and accepted his faith all at once. Then he and the angel Gabriel took leave of each other, and Rabbi Ishmael returned to this world. When his eyes opened, Rabbi Ishmael saw that all of the other sages had gathered around him, waiting for his soul to return from on high. When he told them all at once that what he learned from the lips of the angel Gabriel, and when the other sages learned that they had been chosen to lift the sin of Joseph's brothers from the world and to break one of the chains of the Messiah, they embraced their destiny, and one by one they went bravely to their deaths. This story comes from Gabriel's Palace, Jewish Mystical Tales, selected and retold by Howard Schwartz.